Yo, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make insane orchestral type of melodies, like some medieval vibes, some insane medieval soundscapes with fantasy elements. And as always, before we get started, make sure to go tap in with me on social media at inquires, but let's lock in. This melody right here was giving me major Assassin's Creed type of vibes. That's why I named it Da Vinci. It just feels like you're trapping in the 1400s with Da Vinci, but this is what it sounds like. It's really orchestral, but there's also a lot of fantasy elements in there. It feels like you're in a stew session in 1400s, like in Florence, Italy. It's like me uptown trip and then Da Vinci in the back off the beans. Yeah, let me just break down all the layers in this melody. First, I started with these bells from CMI. Really kind of detuned type of bells. First pattern that I played is actually very simple. It sounds like this. So on the bottom, I'm playing a D minor chord, and then I'm switching between D minor and D sus2. But as you heard, the overall melody wasn't as dark. It wasn't like scary. It was more like fantasy. And that's because I added these notes. So the seventh adds a cool color to it. So when I was making this melody, that note right there just felt natural. But the theory behind why this melody doesn't sound as dark is because I'm actually in the scale of D Dorian. So this is what it sounds like. So my main chord is D minor. But if my top melody also emphasized the scale of D minor, it would be way more dark. So D minor has these notes. But in this beat, I didn't use this B flat because, you know, in Dorian, you sharp the 7. For these kind of medieval orchestral melodies, the Dorian scale works really well because it has a really cool medieval sound to it, you know. This is some of the stuff that you can do with this. You can already get the kind of medieval vibe from that, as opposed to if I played just regular D minor, it would sound like this. It's not really as fantasy-like as to using a Dorian. So yeah, that's pretty much the first pattern. And then my second pattern, I decided to add these strings, just like a cello. And with this pattern, I wanted to give the melody more rhythm. So this is what it sounds like. It really drives the melody forward. It kind of makes it feel like you're on the ship, like riding the waves, you know. Next, I wanted to fill in that low end, so I just added this simple piano from SRX, and this is what it sounds like. As you can see, I'm playing a super low octave D. Just kind of emphasize that downbeat, make it hit hard. And then up top, I have this kind of twinkle pattern. Once again, you really hear that Dorian sound in here because, you know, I'm just playing. It definitely feels like you're trapping with Da Vinci. Next, two of the most important layers in this melody are these textures that I added. So the first texture is this E vocal noise bed, and it's basically this vocal texture. If you put that on the downbeat and make it really subtle, it goes crazy. It adds a really fantasy layer to the melody, like almost like you're casting a spell on the listener. It feels like you're opening the gates and, like, you know, Da Vinci's walking out type shit. And then the next layer, the next texture layer, you probably didn't even hear. It's really subtle. It's like these leaves moving around. Most listeners are probably never going to hear that, but it's cool to have those kind of textures in your melody. Next, I wanted to have a quieter kind of B section, so I added this little vocal sounding synth from M1, and this is what it sounds like. It's a little bit more calm just to have like a different section to the melody. So up next, I wanted to add this really crazy synth pattern, and this is what it sounds like. I just like arpeggiated it in triplets. I put like Portal on it and some other effects. After the effect, it's kind of more of a texture layer. It sounds like this. Then over here, I bring the octave piano back in. As you hear, I use the mixture of synths and orchestral stuff, which is totally okay because, you know, you're not trying to replicate like a Mozart symphony. Experimenting, mixing different types of instruments is definitely the way to get crazy sounding melodies. You know, someone that I look up to a lot is Hans Zimmer, and like pretty much all his soundtracks that he does for the films have a combination of artificial sounds and like, you know, natural orchestral elements. That's how he makes insane atmospheres, by mixing unorthodox, you know, textures and elements together. You know, as a type beat, I can't really put a name to this melody, but actually I could see Migos on this going crazy, like Quavo. Hey Huncho Da Vinci, Huncho Da Vinci. I'm chopping it up like Da Vinci. I'm running the trap like Da Vinci. And then Takeoff is like Da Vinci. This is one of my favorite melodies I've made in a little bit because, you know, it's just so goofy. It's like I can't stop listening to it. And then, of course, you know, I sent the melody to Trip. He juiced it up. So I'll play the final beat that he made on this in a second. But, you know, if you guys enjoy this video, if you guys learned a lot of sauce from this, please make sure to give it a like, you know, subscribe for more videos. And I'm out of here. Peace out.